Grandma, don't drink that. My 8-year-old grandson Lucas grabbed my wine glass before I could take a sip. His small hand was trembling, and his eyes darted toward the kitchen where my daughter-in-law, Natasha, was arranging the pumpkin pie. I saw Mommy put something in it, he whispered, pressing close to me. When you went to answer the door, I froze. The Thanksgiving table was beautiful, golden light streaming through the dining room windows of my modest colonial home in Maplewood, New Jersey. The turkey I'd spent all morning preparing sat perfectly browned at the center. Everything looked normal, peaceful, but Lucas's face was pale, and I'd learned long ago to trust a child's instincts. Across the table, Natasha turned and smiled at me. That smile. Too bright. The same smile she'd been giving me for weeks now, ever since I'd mentioned what I planned to do with Richard's life insurance money. "Everything okay over there?" she called out, her voice honey-sweet. "Eleanor, you look confused again. Are you feeling all right?" There it was. The word she'd been using like a weapon for months. Confused. As if I were losing my mind at 64. As if being a widow meant my brain had stopped working. "I'm fine," I said, keeping my voice steady. I looked down at Lucas, whose green eyes were wide with fear. "Just fine, sweetheart." My son David came in from the kitchen carrying the gravy boat. At 40, he looked exhausted, dark circles under his eyes from his shifts at the hospital. He'd been working doubles lately, which meant he wasn't home much, which meant he didn't see what I saw. Didn't hear the little comments Natasha made when he wasn't around. Didn't notice how she'd been positioning herself as my caretaker, as if I needed one. "Mom, Natasha's right. You do look pale," David said, concern creasing his forehead. "Have you been taking your vitamins?" I didn't need vitamins. I needed them to stop treating me like I was senile. "I'm perfectly healthy," I said. "Dr. Morrison gave me a clean bill of health just last month." "Dr. Morrison is almost as old as you are," Natasha laughed, sitting down gracefully. Her designer dress probably cost more than my mortgage payment. "David, you keep saying your mother needs to see someone at the hospital. Someone who specializes in—" "I don't need a specialist," I cut her off. "I need everyone to stop acting like I've lost my faculties. See?" Natasha said softly to David. "Defensive. It's one of the signs." Lucas squeezed my hand under the table. I looked at the wine glass he'd taken from me. The crystal caught the light, and I could see a slight cloudiness in the burgundy liquid, something that didn't belong there. My heart started pounding, but I forced myself to smile. To act normal. "You know what? You're right. I am tired." I reached for the glass Lucas was still holding. "Let me just have one sip to calm my nerves before dinner." Lucas's grip tightened, but I gave him a look. "Trust me," I tried to say with my eyes. He slowly released the glass. I brought it to my lips, tilted it, but didn't let any liquid pass my teeth. When I set it down, I made a show of looking more relaxed. "There. Better already," I said. Natasha's smile widened. "Good. Now, shall we say grace?" As David led the prayer, I watched Natasha over my folded hands. She kept glancing at me, checking, waiting for something. And suddenly, the last 6 months made terrible sense. The times I'd felt dizzy after drinking tea she'd made. The afternoon I'd been so confused I'd forgotten where I'd parked my car right after she'd brought me lunch. The evening I'd nearly fallen down the stairs after she'd insisted I have a glass of wine to de-stress. Not confusion. Not age. Drugged. She'd been drugging me. Building a case. Making my son think I was declining. Making everyone think I needed her. And I knew why. 3 weeks ago, I'd made an announcement at Sunday dinner. Richard's life insurance policy had finally paid out. $200,000. It was more money than I'd ever seen in my life. Richard and I had scrimped and saved for 30 years, teaching at public schools, raising David, and he'd always insisted on keeping that policy current. "I'm going to donate it," I'd said. "To the Children's Hospital. It's what Richard wanted. He always said if anything happened to him, he wanted his death to mean something, to help kids who needed it." David had been surprised but supportive. "That's really generous, Mom. Dad would be proud. But Natasha..." I'd seen something flash across her face. Shock. Anger. Then she'd covered it quickly with that smile. Are you sure that's wise? She'd said. You should keep it for yourself, for your care. You never know when you might need assistance. I'm 64, not 90, I'd replied. And I don't need assistance. That's when it had started getting worse. The suggestions that I was forgetful, the concerned looks, the talks with David about getting me evaluated. If I were declared incompetent, if I needed a guardian, David would take control of my finances, and Natasha controlled David. I looked at Lucas now, this sweet boy who'd tried to save me. He was watching his mother with an expression that broke my heart. He knew. Children always know when something is wrong in their home. Lucas, honey, I said as we started passing dishes, why don't you tell everyone about your art project? He brightened a little. I've been learning to draw people. Mrs. Chen says I'm really good at details. I draw everything I see. Everything? I asked meaningfully. He nodded slowly. Everything. I even made videos on my tablet to help me remember what people look like when they move, so I can draw them better later. I saw Natasha's hand freeze on the serving spoon. Just for a second. That's wonderful, sweetheart, David said proudly, missing the entire exchange. Maybe you'll be an artist someday. Or a detective, I thought. I need to use the restroom, I announced, standing up. Lucas, can you help me? This arthritis makes it hard to navigate the stairs. I didn't have arthritis. But Natasha had told David I did. Of course, Grandma, Lucas said quickly, jumping up. We went upstairs, and I locked us in the bathroom. Lucas pulled out his tablet from his hoodie pocket. Show me, I whispered. His fingers flew across the screen. And there it was. Video after video. Lucas positioned at the breakfast bar, tablet propped up, pretending to draw, but actually recording, and the footage was damning. Natasha dumping white powder into my tea, Natasha slipping something into my wine, Natasha on the phone. Once she's evaluated and declared incompetent, David will have power of attorney. She's trying to give away our money. Can you believe that? $200,000 to charity? Over my dead body. Or hers. My blood ran cold. Then boiling hot. She hid something yesterday, Lucas whispered. Your grandma's brooch. The one with the sapphires. She took it from your jewelry box and put it in the storage room in the basement, behind the Christmas decorations. The brooch. My mother's brooch. Worth at least $50,000. The only valuable thing I owned besides the house. Why would she hide it? I asked, though I was starting to understand. I heard her on the phone again. She's going to say you stole it from her. She's going to say it was her mother's, and you took it because you're confused. Then when the police come, they'll find other stuff she planted, and she'll say, you're dangerous, that you're stealing and hiding things, that you need to be locked up somewhere. This wasn't just about drugging me. This was about destroying my credibility entirely, making me look like a thief, a crazy old woman who stole from her own family. My hands shook as I took the tablet. Can I have this? To keep safe? I already uploaded everything to the cloud, Lucas said proudly. Mommy doesn't know my password, and I sent a copy to your email too, just in case. I hugged him tight. You're so brave, so smart. Your grandfather would be so proud of you. Grandma, I'm scared, he whispered into my shoulder. She's mean to Daddy when he's too tired to notice. And she's really mean to you. And she gets this look sometimes. Like she hates us. I know, baby. I know. I pulled back and looked at him seriously. But we're going to stop her. We need to be smart. Can you be brave a little longer? He nodded. Good. Here's what we're going to do. We went back downstairs. I pretended to be slightly unsteady. Natasha watched me like a hawk. Dinner proceeded. I ate. Didn't touch the wine again, even when Natasha encouraged me. Just one more glass, Eleanor. It'll help you relax. I'm relaxed enough, I said. After dinner, as David started clearing plates, I stood up. I feel like wearing something special for dessert. Let me go get my mother's brooch. The sapphire one. I haven't worn it in ages. Natasha went very still. Your brooch? Yes. The one my mother left me. It'll look lovely with this blouse. Mom, where did you put it? David asked. You're always moving things around and forgetting where they are. Thanks, Natasha, for planting that idea. It's in my jewelry box. In my bedroom. Lucas, come help me look. We went upstairs, but instead of going to my bedroom, I went down to the basement. Lucas showed me where the brooch was hidden, tucked in a box of old ornaments. I took it, then we went back upstairs. I walked to the dining room, where Natasha was helping David in the kitchen. I can't find it, I said, letting worry creep into my voice. I could have sworn it was in my jewelry box. Natasha appeared in the doorway, drying a dish. That's concerning, Eleanor. Are you sure you didn't misplace it? I never misplace my mother's things, I said firmly. Well, that's not entirely true, Natasha said gently, looking at David. You've been misplacing a lot lately. Remember last week when you insisted your car keys were stolen, but they were in the freezer? That had been her too. I knew it now. My brooch wouldn't be in the freezer, I said. No, but... Natasha set down the dish. Eleanor, I don't know how to say this, but that brooch, it wasn't yours. It was my mother's. The room went silent. What? I stared at her. My mother's sapphire brooch. She left it to me when she died 3 years ago. I brought it here for safekeeping because our apartment had been broken into. Remember, David? Last Christmas? David nodded slowly. Yeah, I remember. You asked to see it, Eleanor. You said it reminded you of your mother's jewelry. I let you hold it, and then... I don't know. I didn't want to embarrass you, but it disappeared that day. I thought maybe you'd gotten confused, mixed up our mother's jewelry. I didn't want to upset you by saying anything. She was good. She was very, very good. That's a lie, I said flatly. Mom, David started. No. Listen to me. That brooch was my mother's. I have the documentation. The insurance papers. The photos from my parents' wedding, where she's wearing it. Eleanor, dementia can create false memories, Natasha said softly. I've been reading about it. You can be convinced something belongs to you when it doesn't. I didn't want to tell you, but I've noticed other things missing too. Small things. My earrings. Some cash from my wallet. Are you calling me a thief? My voice shook with rage. I'm saying you're unwell, Natasha said, and she actually made her eyes tear up. And I think we need to call someone. Call someone? I repeated. The police, she said. And a doctor. If you've been taking things and hiding them, not remembering. David, we talked about this. This is one of the warning signs. We need to get her help before she hurts herself. Or someone else. David looked torn. Mom, maybe we should just... No, I said. I walked over to the couch where Natasha had left her designer handbag. She'd set it there when she arrived. Throughout dinner, it had been sitting in the living room. You want to call the police? Let's call them. Because I think they'll be very interested in where my mother's brooch actually is. And I pulled it out of Natasha's bag. Her face went white, then red. How did that I don't you? Put that there. You planted it in my bag. Did I asked calmly. Lucas, can you show your father what you showed me? Lucas pulled out his tablet. His hands were shaking, but his voice was steady. Daddy, I've been recording. For my art project. But I caught other stuff too. What happened next was almost in slow motion. David taking the tablet. David watching the videos. His face changing from confusion to disbelief to horror. Natasha lunging for the tablet, trying to grab it. Me stepping between them. It's already backed up, I said. Multiple locations. This is fake, Natasha hissed. You coached him. You're manipulating an 8-year-old child to tell the truth? I finished. I didn't coach him to do anything. He saw what you were doing. And he was scared. Scared enough to document everything. David, you can't believe this, Natasha said, her voice rising. I'm your wife. I love you. I love your mother. I would never. There's more, Lucas said quietly. He tapped the screen. There's the part where you talked on the phone about getting Grandma locked up. And the part where you told your friend you'd done this before. Before. David looked up at Natasha. What does he mean? Before. Nothing. He's lying. She made him lie. Your last husband, I said suddenly, pieces clicking together. You were married before David. Your first husband's mother. There was something about her, wasn't there? Something about an inheritance dispute? Natasha's face became a mask. You've been investigating me. No. But I will now. I looked at David. Call the police. Tell them we need someone here. Tell them there's been an attempted theft and possibly attempted poisoning. And tell them to bring someone who can test the wine in that glass. You're insane, Natasha shrieked. David, she's insane. Are you going to let her do this to me? To us? But David was staring at the tablet screen, watching his wife pour something into his mother's drink, watching her on the phone, cold and calculating, watching her hide the brooch. Oh my God, he whispered. Oh my God, Natasha, what did you do? What I had to do, she screamed. Do you know what it's like being married to you? You work all the time. We live in a cramped apartment. Your mother has this house, all this money, and she's going to give it away? To strangers? When we have nothing? We don't have nothing, David said. We have each other. At least, I thought we did. She had $200,000, Natasha shouted, and she was going to throw it away. I've been taking care of her, making her meals, putting up with her confusion. I deserve that money. You caused that confusion, I said. You drugged me. Prove it. We will, David said, and he picked up the phone. What followed was a blur. David called 911. Natasha tried to leave, but David blocked the door. She alternated between rage and tears, between threats and pleading. Lucas stayed close to me, holding my hand. I'm sorry, Grandma, he kept saying. I should have told sooner. You told when it mattered most, I assured him. You saved me, sweetheart. The police arrived. Officers Martinez and Chen, both professional and calm. I showed them the videos. David explained about the wine. Officer Martinez carefully bagged the wine glass. We'll need to have this tested, she said. And we'll need statements from everyone. A detective arrived. Detective Sarah Santos, a woman about my age with kind eyes and a sharp mind. She listened to everything, watched the videos, took notes. Mrs. Eleanor Grant, she said to me. Have you been feeling ill lately? Yes, I admitted. More than usual. I thought it was stress, grief. My husband died 18 months ago. And you, Mrs. Natasha Grant. Detective Santos turned to my daughter-in-law. These are serious allegations. Attempted poisoning, theft, false reporting. Do you want to explain your side? Natasha had her lawyer face on now. I want a lawyer. That's your right. Detective Santos nodded. Then she looked at me. Mrs. Grant, do you have any other symptoms that concern you? Have you kept any of your teacups or water glasses that Mrs. Natasha Grant might have prepared? I thought. There's a travel mug in my car. She made me coffee yesterday morning. I only drank half because I started feeling dizzy. We'll test that too. Detective Santos stood. Mrs. Natasha Grant, I'm going to need you to come to the station with us for questioning. This is harassment, Natasha snapped. I'm the victim here. She's a confused old woman who's trying to— Ma'am, Officer Chen interrupted quietly. We have video evidence of you adulterating someone's drink. We have recorded conversations where you discuss your plans. And we have theft of a valuable item. You need to come with us. David stood frozen as they read Natasha her rights. As they led her out in handcuffs, she was shouting the whole way about lawyers and lawsuits and wrongful arrest. When the door closed behind them, David collapsed into a chair. Dad? Lucas whispered. David pulled his son into his arms and started crying. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I didn't see. I sat down next to them, putting my arms around them both. She's good at hiding who she really is, I said softly. She almost killed you, David choked out. My own wife almost killed my mother, but she didn't. Thanks to Lucas. We sat there together, the three of us, holding each other as the Thanksgiving dinner sat forgotten on the table. The next few days were a whirlwind. The lab results came back. The wine contained a high dose of diazepam, enough to make me severely disoriented. The coffee in my travel mug had it too. Detective Santos ran a background check on Natasha. She'd been married once before, to a wealthy man named Robert Fisher. Robert's mother had died unexpectedly 6 months into their marriage. There had been an investigation. No charges filed, but suspicions remained. Robert had inherited $500,000. The marriage lasted 2 more years before he divorced Natasha, and she walked away with a substantial settlement. She has a pattern, Detective Santos told me in her office. She targets men with wealthy, elderly parents. Gets close to the family. If the parents are resistant or independent, she finds ways to make them seem incompetent or to hasten their decline. This is the first time someone caught her. Because of an 8-year-old boy, I said. Because of a very smart 8-year-old boy, she corrected. Mrs. Grant, what you need to know is that without his evidence, this case would be much harder to prove. She would have said you planted the brooch, that you doctored the wine after. But we have her on video. We have her premeditation. We have her prior bad acts. What will happen to her? She's being charged with attempted poisoning, elder abuse, theft, and conspiracy to commit fraud. Given her history, she's looking at serious prison time. I thought about that. About Natasha in prison. I didn't feel happy about it. Just tired. And grateful it was over. David moved back into my house with Lucas. They needed space from the apartment they'd shared with Natasha. I needed family around me. We needed each other. Lucas started therapy. He'd been holding in so much fear, so much anxiety. Dr. Reynolds, a kind child psychologist, helped him understand that what he'd done was brave, not disloyal, that telling the truth about abuse isn't betrayal. David started therapy too. He blamed himself, for being blind, for choosing Natasha in the first place, for putting his mother in danger. You didn't know, I told him one evening as we sat on the back porch. She was very good at manipulation. I should have seen it. I should have believed you. You believe me now. That's what matters. He was quiet for a long moment. Then, the insurance money. Are you still giving it away? Yes, I said. It's what your father wanted. And honestly, after everything that happened, I want that money to do good in the world. I don't want it anywhere near this family. It attracted poison, David nodded. He'd be proud of you. And of Lucas, he would. 6 months later, I stood in the children's hospital, cutting a ribbon on the new oncology wing, the Richard Grant Memorial Wing. $200,000 had been the seed money, and the hospital had matched it with grants and donations. David and Lucas stood with me. Lucas was grinning, showing me the sketch he'd made of the ceremony. He was drawing all the time now, happy pictures, kids playing, families smiling. He was healing. Natasha had been convicted. 8 years in prison. It wasn't enough, maybe, but it was something. And the conviction meant other families were warned. Other potential victims might be saved. David had filed for divorce the day she was arrested. It was final now. He was dating someone new, a nurse from his hospital named Patricia, who was kind and genuine, and who Lucas actually liked. No rushing, just taking it slow. As for me, I'd started teaching again, part-time, tutoring kids and reading at the local library. It felt good to be useful, to be seen as capable, not confused. To be Eleanor Grant, retired teacher and grandmother, not Eleanor Grant, the poor elderly woman who almost became a victim. That evening, we had dinner at my house. Just the 3 of us and Patricia, who brought homemade bread and made Lucas laugh, as we sat around the same Thanksgiving table where it had all happened. I looked at these people I loved. I want to say something, I announced. I want to thank Lucas. Again. For being brave when it counted. Lucas blushed. I was really scared, Grandma. I know you were. That's what made it brave. And I want you to know something. I pulled out a small box. Inside was a watch. Richard's watch. The one he'd worn every day for 30 years. Your grandfather would want you to have this, because you showed the kind of courage and integrity he valued most. The courage to do what's right, even when it's hard, even when you're scared. Lucas's eyes filled with tears as he took the watch. I'll take care of it, I promise. I know you will. David squeezed my hand across the table. To family, he said, raising his glass of cider. The ones who protect each other. To family, we echoed. Outside, the autumn sun was setting, painting the sky orange and gold. Inside, there was warmth and laughter and love. Real love, not the twisted manipulation Natasha had offered. I'd spent months feeling powerless, doubted, diminished. But in the end, I'd been saved by the purest form of love, a child's fierce loyalty to his grandmother. And together, we'd stopped a predator from destroying anyone else. The brooch was in a safe deposit box now, along with all the legal documents proving its provenance. Someday, it would go to Lucas, not because it was valuable in dollars, but because it represented something more important. It represented truth, justice, family. As I looked around the table at my son, my grandson, and the kind woman who was slowly becoming part of our lives, I realized something. Natasha had wanted money. She'd been willing to destroy lives to get it, but what she'd never understood was that the real wealth was here. In these moments, in these connections, in knowing you're loved and that you belong. No amount of money could buy that. And no amount of poison could take it away. I caught Lucas's eye and winked. He grinned back at me. That pure, unself-conscious smile of a child who'd faced darkness and chosen light. My grandson, the hero, my savior. And I thought, not for the first time, that Richard was somewhere looking down at his grandson with fierce pride. Our boy, our legacy. Not in money or property, but in courage and love. That, I thought, as Patricia passed the bread and David laughed at something Lucas said, was everything that mattered. That was everything that would last. The rest was just noise. And we'd silenced it. Together.